The moment they asked about Jack and Lillian, Daniel froze. His eyes dropped. Then he smiled. It was faint, creepy, and wrong. What he said next forced the entire investigation in a direction nobody expected. But what if he was lying? What if everything you've been told about the Jack and Lillian disappearance is a lie? You won't be able to forget this story. And if you do, ask yourself, how many other children are missing because no one cared to listen? Subscribe now or be the reason this story gets buried again. Leave a comment below. If you're not subscribing, tell us why. We need to know. Daniel was brought into the station at exactly 8:13 p.m. No cuffs. No accusations. Just quiet suspicion. Jack and Lillian had been gone for nearly 48 hours. No break-ins. No screams. No sign of a struggle. But the town whispered about Daniel. There was something off. He didn't join the search party. He didn't ask where they were. He just stayed quiet. The officers offered him water, sat him down, pressed record. First question. Do you know where Jack and Lillian are? Daniel looked up slowly. No, I don't. That was the first lie. Not because of what he said, but how he said it. His voice didn't shake. His eyes didn't flinch. He blinked once, then smiled faintly. Not a grin, not joy, just something dark and unnerving. The officers exchanged glances. The tape kept rolling. Subscribe if that sends a chill through you. You're going to need strength for what's coming next. The questions kept coming. So, did Daniel's contradictions? Did you see them that night? No. I mean, yes, at school, but not after. You sure? He hesitated. I think so. Did they say anything strange to you? He shrugged. They always say weird stuff. Weird stuff. That's how he described Lillian's last words before vanishing? It wasn't just the answers. It was how they came out. His arms crossed defensively. His legs jittered. His fingers dug into the chair's edge. The room wasn't cold, but Daniel was sweating. Officer Harwood leaned in. You okay, Daniel? He nodded. Do you feel guilty about anything? No. He said it too fast. Too practiced. Then silence. 6 seconds of it. A psychologist reviewing the tape would later say, that silence was screaming. Subscribe if you felt it too. Because silence hides things louder than screams. Detectives switched tactics. Less questioning. More patience. Let him talk. Daniel rambled about school. About being bullied. About how Jack always teased him. About how Lillian laughed when Jack pushed him once at lunch. That's when something in his tone shifted. They always stuck together like I wasn't even there. They ignored me. Pause. I didn't mean to. I didn't want them to. To what? The detective asked. Daniel froze. Then muttered. Disappear. The air went still. No one spoke. Even the detective was unsure what to say. But Daniel quickly corrected himself. I didn't want them to run away. It's not my fault. Not my fault. He said it before anyone blamed him. A textbook subconscious confession. And yet, no one had proof. Just feelings. Just fear. Subscribe now because what they find next changes everything. And if you're not subscribing, tell us why. Is this story not worth a voice? The next day, officers got a warrant for Daniel's house. Not because of what he said, but what he didn't. His silence filled in more gaps than his words. The search began at dawn. His room was tidy. Too tidy. Drawers perfectly aligned. Bedsheet corners folded. But inside his closet, an old box labeled Science Project. Inside that box, a notebook filled with violent sketches. Children with excess over their eyes. Trees. Holes. Fires. And taped to the back of the notebook, a school photo of Jack. Eyes scratched out with red pen. Daniel's mother said she'd never seen it before. Next to the box, they found a pair of shoes, partially burned at the soles. And tucked inside the shoe, a ribbon, the exact kind Lillian wore in her hair. Police bagged everything. Took photos. Called in the forensics team. Daniel didn't resist. He didn't speak. He just watched, smiling. Subscribe now, because we're only scratching the surface. Every detail you're about to hear has been hidden for too long. One item stood out. A single journal page, ripped from the middle of a missing notebook, burnt at the edges, drawn in crayon. 2 stick figures, a tree, and a shovel. One figure had red XS on the eyes. The other was smiling. The tree in the drawing matched the one behind Daniel's house. Police rushed to dig. They didn't find bodies, but they found bones. Small. Animal, maybe. Or maybe not. They also found a buried lunchbox with the initials JS scratched into the lid. Jack Sullivan. The contents were too damaged to trace, but the message was clear. Someone was trying to bury something, and Daniel knew exactly where to point. Subscribe now if you want the truth. We need your voice to keep this case alive. Daniel hasn't confessed yet, but he's showing cracks in all the wrong places. At night, he paces, talks to himself, refuses food. His grandmother begs him to speak. You have to tell them what you know. He replies once, I already did. But he didn't. He's hiding something. Something bigger than guilt. Something deeper than jealousy. And when police take him back to the station for the second interview, he laughs. That clip never aired. But we have the transcript. And in part 2, you'll hear every word. What Daniel says next changes the investigation forever. And it will haunt you.
Subscribe right now.
Not later. Not if you remember.
Right now.
Because stories like these disappear when people stay silent. And silence is how they vanish all over again. If you won't subscribe, comment below. Tell us why. Would you still ignore it if it was your child? Would your silence be the same?